Tennessee Vol week, big week, good football team. A lot of tough losses for them. This team could be, they're a much improved team. I would say that they got a great head coach in Butch Jones. Probably the best combination. If you look at them offensively, quarterback running back situation in the conference. I mean, I think they're very, 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 very good. Got a lot of tools, and a couple plays here and there, and it's probably a much different season for the Tennessee Volunteers. But we've got our work cut out for us. We've got to continue to improve as a football team like we have in the past few weeks. Keep adding some wrinkles, keep doing some things differently, and trying to move forward and get an SEC win. That's our goal, and that's what we're trying to improve on this week and go out and beat Tennessee over there. Any questions?
Shawn, you mentioned Sunday that you were looking to get Lorenzo more involved in the offense. Could he be a Pharaoh Cooper type where you kind of move him around all over the field?
Well, you saw last Saturday he was a little bit over the field, He's out there wide out, motion back in with a little reverse pass. So, we can do a lot with him. I mean, he's one of those players that you can line up anywhere and have an instant chance to make a big play with. So, we're doing some of that as well.
Coach, what has it meant just to have Brandon back, not only in terms of his ability to run the ball, but also just as a personality and a leader out on the field?
Well, I think having him first and foremost as a player, knowing that he's a workhorse, you can hand the ball off to him 17, 20, 25 times, and he only gets better as the game goes on. And with that being the sense, your team rallies around that. They continue to grow, gain confidence. And you see kind of a different offense. I don't know if I've ever been a fan of a huge rotation of backs. When I say, there's 2 carries here, 2 carries there, another 2 carries for a different guy. I don't know if you ever get into rhythm like that as a running back, but I'm pleased that he's back and giving us the stability. And we have other backs can do that as well, and David Williams. But I think a team likes seeing Brandon out there, the physicality. He ran with toughness this past Saturday. And as long as he continues to do that, our team's going to be rallying around him and following that on-the-field leadership.
The last 3 meetings with Tennessee have come down to a field goal or less, and the last 2 have come down to the last play. What do you think makes the series so close over the last few years?
I don't know. That's a tough question. I mean, we play each other pretty well against one another. I guess matching up is something that is fairly evenly, or has been the last few years. I don't know how it'll play out this year, but it's a good competitive game. I think both teams are certainly want to win. I mean, they certainly want to win. So for it to come down to the end, you can tell the teams are going to fight, and that's what we've done the last few years. We've got to go and continue to do it and see if the ball bounces our way at the end of this one.
Isaiah said that defensively they beat themselves as much as Texas A&M beat them. Is that the way you see it? And do you see continued growth every week with the defense?
Could you?
Oh, sorry. I was saying Isaiah said that he thought the team beat them, or defense beat themselves more than Texas A&M beat them. And do you see continued growth? And where do you think the defense is right now?
Well, first and foremost, Texas A&M beat us. It wasn't us. I can assure you that. You saw the plays they made. I mean, anytime. Don't take that away from a team like that. Someone says, "Yeah, we beat ourselves," and I understand where he's coming from, but give those guys credit. They called the plays they knew that were going to be successful and made the right adjustments. So, hats off to A&M for doing that. But we can play better defensively. There's very, very easy adjustments that can be made, and I'm sure that's probably what he's talking about. To get us in position to limit the runs and some of the quarterback runs. I mean, simple things that we can do. So I see us as, having some focus and some energy to improve on those situations and not have to reflect on those, during the first quarter and say, we got to do this. Well, let's have that in there and be prepared of it since we've seen it to a certain degree so much.
Coach, what do you feel like has been the biggest area of improvement for Brandon Shell across the course of this season, especially in light of moving from right tackle to left tackle this year?
The biggest course of improvement? I know since the Missouri game, he has been a much more physical football player. When he comes off the football now, he is coming off to move people, and he didn't have a very good game against Missouri. It was a very poorly played contest, and the whole game in general. I don't know why it was to that degree, but it was just that way. And after that game, I told him, I said, listen, you got to make one or two decisions. I mean, you can either go and just run this thing out, and who knows what might happen, or you can make a commitment. You can get your butt better and prove to these players that you're going to go against how physical you can be and how dominating you can be as an offensive tackle. And he took that to heart, I think, if you look at his play, and he's improved the physicality nature of it.
Shawn, you mentioned some of the defensive adjustments, simple things. What can be done, and is it a case of you putting your head in more into defensive meetings?
Yeah, I've sat in on a couple of defensive meetings just to understand what's being taught and told to our players. The simple adjustments. I mean, I'm not going to go into detail about what simple adjustments need to be made. They're very aware of what needs to happen and has to have happen for us to contain a zone runner or a zone option quarterback or a quarterback draw. But they're very, very simple. Recognizing things is going to be key for us, and trying to get those things. Communication's got to be a must. But I think just self-recognition of a formation and what someone's trying to do to you, that what they've already done to you in the past, is going to help our guys the most. I mean, I haven't been a huge watcher of the defense over the entire season, but I understand when they take advantage of certain situations how they're trying to do it. And hopefully our guys will understand that as well going forward.
Have you had to make any concessions to the fact that you've had a lot of long road trips, even an extra one, in Baton Rouge, in terms of fatigue of your team?
I don't think we're tired. I certainly don't think we're tired. We've had an odd season. I mean, it really has. It almost feels like we have very rarely played at home. I mean, it just turned out that way. It was unfortunate that we had to go to LSU, but we did, and it went down there, and we would like to have played here at home, but it didn't change the fact that we're tired or not. You've got to go, and you've got to deal with those types of situations. We had an open week at a very, very good time, and we should be fresh and ready to go. There's no reason for us to be tired.
Shawn, the difference in turnover margin is pretty significant between the games you've won and the games you've lost. What's your philosophy with regards to the importance of turnover margin, and then how do you get the defense to get more takeaways?
The philosophy is just like any other coach. I mean, turnovers spells the ball game. I mean, that's the story of the game. You look at the great teams; they've got great turnover margins in the plus ratio. As far as gaining turnovers, you've got to be in position. You've got to be in position, whether it's an interception, whether it's rallying to a football. You've got to be in I say a chase format, a gang tackle. A lot of people stress stripping the football, but I'm not so sure it's the tough hits that make these guys drop the ball. It's the hit after hit after hit. I want to see us laying the hits and causing the fumbles. The strip tackles, those things are well and good, and we would love to have those at times. But I think it's play after play and hit after hit that ultimately causes the back to lose the football. So if we can put our hats on them a numerous amount of times, then I feel fortunate we're going to get the turnovers.
Shawn, Coach Hoke told us after the Texas A&M game that they simplified their defensive calls in the second half because Sky and TJ came to him and asked him to do that. Is that a bold or an unusual move for a player to make?
I don't think so. Players, they got some common sense too. They can come to us. It's no different than Brandon Wiles coming up to us and saying, "Hey, this play right here, I see it a lot better than this. Our line can block it better to the right side than the left side." Simple suggestions. Listen, this is what it's about. I can certainly tell you, there's not one of us sitting in this room right here today that has all the answers. And for a player to come up and have the ability to communicate with his coach about, hey, let's try to do this, I think that says a lot about what they can say to a coach and vice versa. And for him to say, okay, let's go do it. I mean, I think it's a pretty good situation, to tell you the truth.
Shawn, what did you like out of your offense last week, and how do you think they can use what happened to build coming into this week?
There wasn't a lot of predictability. we were all over the place. I mean, we could have done a numerous amount of things. We had different packages, we had different personnels, we had different players. Even to the extent we're throwing Nunez in there, wide receiver, and then running the reverse pass with him or the reverse run, however you want to call it, how it turned out. A little bit, more screens. You got to keep people off the toes. I mean, you can't be basic. You can't run. I mean, certainly if it's working, it's great. But let's be honest, you can't run the same inside zone play over and over and over again and expect great results. I mean, you just can't. It's worked out in the past for us, but I seem to think that, had we have been a little bit more diverse, they could have worked out a lot better. So we're going to continue to do that, and like I said, add wrinkles here and there. It's not that we're changing a lot of stuff. We're just adding a simple, and maybe a motion, and maybe a block. But something's always going to be changing.
Coach, last offseason, how much concern was there that Brandon Shell might go pro, and what do you think him coming back for a fifth year has done for you guys and for him?
I think Brandon wanted to end strong. I mean, he certainly wanted to have a strong season for our team, and he certainly wanted to come back and put together one big senior year. And I think that was his main focus and his thought all along. I don't think there was to tell you the truth, I don't really fear those guys going pro. I mean, recruits come and go, players come and go. You've got to move on, and you've got to hope that you've recruited well to back them up. But, he told me, I remember him looking me in the eye going, I'm not going anywhere, Coach. Don't worry about it, So I really didn't have to sit and think and wonder about it all that much. But he's having a good year other than that Missouri game, and he's going to continue with this stretch up of upcoming games. It's going to continue to be better. There's numerous NFL scouts here, and, he's got a good future.
You've talked about wrinkles, and I know Hayden had a big play the other day. But how would you like to get the tight end position a little bit more involved into the offense in the game?
Well, Hayden was actually playing wide receiver. Yeah, so, we would like to get the tight end more involved, but we'd also like to get Hayden involved, playing the wide receiver position a little bit more. There's a lot of things we'd like to get involved. I mean, whether it's Jarrell Adams, whether it's Hayden, whether it's Farrow. I mean, notice Farrow, what do you have, 3 catches and 2 carries the other day, 4 catches, 2 carries the other day? We'd like to get him more involved. We're looking for the best play. You can't stare down receivers. You can't target guys. Sure, you can have plans, but unless your offense is working together, you're not going to be successful. So the Hayden Hurst, the Jarrell Adams, the Brandon Wiles, the David Williams, you got to incorporate all those guys into it for the Farrow Coopers to have the big game.
Shawn, I wanted to ask a couple things about Tennessee. It seems like their defensive front is a little more effective at getting to the quarterback this year. What have you seen out of their pass rushers that make them that are making them have such a good year?
Effort. I mean, just quick twitch coming off the ball. I mean, I love to see them. I mean, when I say I love to see them, they come off the football. They jump the snap count and get up the field quick. Put pressure on your edge tackles right there and turn the corner, turn their hips and go. They've got good inside pressure players. Their tackles are good. They can push the pocket. So when you get the edge, kind of narrowed down right there, they've got that vertical push inside to control the depth of the pocket. So when it shrinks, there's not a whole lot of places for that to go. But they've got a strong front, very capable of doing all things, stopping the run and rushing the passer.
Wanted to ask about Tennessee special teams, too. They always give you something to worry about. I think Barry's leading the country in punt returns this year. How dangerous are they on special teams, and how much of an emphasis is that this week?
They are the best special teams unit in our conference and maybe in the country. I believe Barry is on kickoff returns averaging over 40 yards per kickoff return. 40 yards? I mean, who's kicking it to him and why? I don't know. I mean, I told Art, I said, let me tell you one thing. It better be out of the end zone because even when you kick it in the end zone, he brings it out. So they're special. They're very well coached in the special teams area. They've got great players that you've got to have those great return guys, but you've got to have the guys that set it up as well for the blocking. They bought into it and they've done a heck of a job, as have our special teams have done with Joe Robson. But yeah, they're a threat and something that you've got to have a plan for. When I say a plan, not just a everyday ordinary plan. I'm saying you've got to know how to target and how to take away their strengths in that area.
You mentioned yesterday having more fun. Prior to the transition with you taking over, did you realize that was an issue before, or is that one of those things that once it's changed, you think, oh, yeah, this is better? I mean, did you realize before that this team needed a little boost of something?
Yes, we've been needing that. Our entire team had. If as a coach, you read players. You look in their eyes, you see them. It doesn't matter if I'm the O-line coach and I see a tight end or running back. It has nothing to do with position groups. But you read players. You see how they walk in the meeting room as their head down. I felt we had not had fun. Even in our wins, we had not had a whole lot of fun. I mean, so it was something that needed to be changed, and the only way to change it was to try some new techniques. And, like I said, you play games certainly to win, but you start as youngsters and little kids because you enjoy playing them. They're so much fun. I mean, that's why you do it. As soon as you take the fun out of any situation, who likes going in there and spending time and energy to do something you don't love or enjoy? I sure don't. I don't know if y'all do. Otherwise, I mean, that's why I love coaching. It's so much fun. I can't imagine having a job that you go to and you just dread it. So we had to make a change, and subtle changes here and there, but we're having a little bit more fun. There's more upbeat mentality. Winning is going to make it a lot more fun, of course, and we're going to try to get that done.
We've seen the music. We obviously see that or hear the music at practice. What else have you done to try to increase the energy and just the fun level?
I think talking to players. When you go out and you kind of find an interest in it may have been a defensive lineman or something. You walk up and you talk to them about maybe what their day's done, joking around with them. I mean, I'm bouncing around. Our players and coaches are interacting. They're coming into meeting rooms. I mean, just simple things you can say to someone, and it's how you make them feel. I mean, Hayden Hurst when he called that ball the other day, I mean, he took off. Yeah, have you ever seen a more excited young man to catch that ball and sprint back? I mean, he thought he sprinted back to the sideline. We were like, no, you got to play another play. And we're in the meeting yesterday. I said, you like Clifford the Big Red Dog taking across that field. The whole team just kind of burst out, and he's smiling. But, you certainly can't make light of all those situations. But, little things here and there make people feel certain ways. And if it's a small little thing that I can say or another coach can say, and make a guy smile and feel appreciated or have some humor in it, then that's what we're going to do.
Going back to special teams real quick, can you just talk about how good of a season Landon Ard and Shawn Kelly have had for you guys, and how a good game for them this weekend can nullify Tennessee's special teams? Wow.
I mean, Landon Ard, I remember standing on the sidelines a few years back, and I'm thinking, don't kick it out of bounds. Don't kick it out of bounds. Don't kick it out of bounds. They're phenomenal. Shawn Kelly, Landon Ard, I mean, the whole specialist, Drew Williamson, I mean, all those guys. God, you really can't measure how crucial they are in our preparation, in our competitiveness as a football program. They've worked very, very hard. Shawn Kelly, I mean, God, when you look at him, he may be the MVP of the football team at this point. The way he goes out there and does it. But those guys are all really good guys. And when I talk, I mentioned about having fun. Those guys have fun. They have fun. I mean, they're every day I break from the meeting, and there's a little specialist group hanging out outside the meeting room where Coach Joe Robinson's talking with our scout group at that time, and they're all hanging out right there. And I go hang out with them for about 3 or 4 minutes every single day, and they're fun to be around. But they have certainly made our football team a lot better, and we'll continue to do it.
Any communication between you and Coach Tanner about the job search and a future meeting at this point?
No. Right now, we're working here to win football games. That'll play it all. Play itself out. I'm not worried about that one bit. I'm just hoping to prepare this football team to be the best they can be, and go out and knock off a few wins here, and see where it all may go.
Have you guys had some concern at some point in the season that people were stealing your signs? I haven't.
I think you always have concerns. I mean, I think every staff has concerns. We've touched on, that several times. We made changes here in the last couple of weeks about that very thing. And actually, John Hoke and I just had a conversation about his as well. So yes, we do have some concern, but I think everyone in the conference does, and around the country.
We've seen things like Oregon did, 9-foot-tall screens, and
Yeah.
we've seen various stuff like that. Do y'all investigate that kind of stuff? What's your philosophy on those sort of?
There's extremes you don't have to go to, I don't think. I think if you have a good plan and multiple signal callers, that you can disguise and get away with it. I think on Saturday, if I'm not mistaken, I think I looked over there on Texas A&M sideline, and they had a board covering the top of their coaches on the bench or something like that. I said, what in the world are they doing over there? Somebody said they're hiding the signals. I said, God, because some guy's holding up a board and it's flat. Looked like he'd built a shed over there because it was raining or something. I had no idea. I was just like, they take it to an extreme that you probably don't have to. But yeah, you got to worry about that stuff.
We see the play sheets. They've got the funny pictures and all that.
Uh-huh.
Is there any difference in that and what you guys are doing with just the hand signals? Are y'all communicating the same kind of thing? What's
We
the
are.
difference there?
We are.
Just comfort level of the staff and the players.
Yeah, I mean, there's multiple ways to signal. So everyone has their way. We can throw a board out there this week if you want us to. You might want to keep those.
Fair enough.
What are your thoughts on the Tennessee song Rocky Top?
Well, consider my wife's from Chattanooga, and her entire family love the Tennessee Vols. I think it's neat. I think it's something that's just been around for years. It's a traditional song, and every time you hear it, you understand what it is and where it's coming from, and it represents them and their entire university and their fan base. I don't have a problem with it. I think it's kind of neat.
Shawn, given what we've seen over the last 3 weeks, I mean, had this team tuned Coach Spurrier out to a degree, or does this all go back to him saying it needed a new voice?
That's a question that I don't think I can answer. I mean, to tell you, I just think we all knew that there was something that needed to be changed, but I wouldn't say they tuned him out. I don't think you tune out Coach Steve Spurrier.
Anything else for Coach Elliott? Thank you.
Thank y'all. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Shawn.